That's right. We're getting to the end of school. I don't know if the teachers are living green, but.
I just want to know why this week.
Start next week.
Listen, I'm like, we should have we should have started in January because it's like 1,000 things.
And,
1,000 things in class.
and the baseball they also had a game last night.
Yeah. All right. It is 4:49 p.m. I am calling the meeting of the David T. Howard Middle School Go Team to order. And we will call roll. Principal Hollis. Present. Mr. Brooks is not feeling well, so he will not be present. Dr. El Deary. Present. Shalonda Miller. Dr. Bryant. Present. Ms. Nolan. Ms. Moore.
Present.
Dr. Patel.
Here.
Mr. Baker.
No, I'm here.
Yeah.
And Baker's not.
Yes, right here. That's Doug Brooks and then say.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a B, so I get it.
No. And Mr. Anglin. All right, we are ready to get started with our actions. May I have a motion to approve the agenda? Before we do, I have a couple of amendments. We have 2 discussion items to add, the spring map scores and the needs assessment. I am not familiar with the needs assessment. It's in here, okay, perfect. And the info section to add Go Team elections. And may I now have a motion to approve the agenda as amended? Is there a second? A second. All those in favor? Any nays? All right, the agenda is approved. And then approval of the March 11, 2025 meeting minutes. May I have a motion to approve those, please? Second,
Second.
all those in favor? Any opposed? All right, and that passes. Do we have anyone for public comment?
I did all the things except for look for that.
Okay.
So
No worries.
we're
There's
going
always lots
in
of
to
things to
see.
do. I will, I can put this on the record. Back on March 3rd, we received a email from Jean D'Amico with regard to Yonder pouches. I can send that for the notes, but she is encouraging us to consider adoption of Yonder pouches for next school year. We didn't have public comment last time, which is why this wasn't made available, but I will make sure it gets added to the notes.
There was
In
also
addition.
another email.
With regard to the personal devices. I figured we talked about that during.
Haley Johnson.
Yes, but I figured we talked about that during personal devices, unless, I mean, I can mention that she also sent an email to encourage us to conduct a survey in order to find out from our community their thoughts about the use of personal devices. Any other public comment? You can come back to it if you need.
I'm there now.
Okay.
Just takes a minute. I have a lot of forms, as you can imagine.
No.
We didn't have public comment. I don't know if I read this one. It's about the Yonder pouches. It was submitted on March 3rd.
Is that the email?
No, this is a
Something different.
comment.
Okay.
It is from the Amico though.
Okay.
It reads, at this point, the impact of phones on children's ability to learn is well known. Phones and schools simply aren't compatible. There is overwhelming research that demonstrates this, and we can all see it in our own eyes. I have a son who is in the 9th grade at Midtown. I think I read this. During this time, did I read that? During this time at DT Howard, the phone away policy was in place. Well, that didn't work so well. He was constantly using, I think we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we read this one. Sorry, strike it.
Mhm.
Then there was one from a Karen OET on 310. It is also about cell phones. First, removing cell phones from the classroom helps students stay focused on their lessons. Smartphones are powerful distractions. Even the mere presence of a phone can diminish a child's attention and make it more difficult to absorb material. Second, a phone-free school day promotes healthier face-to-face interactions. Social skills are crucial to a child's emotional and intellectual growth. These skills develop when students practice active listening, empathy, and direct communication. By decreasing phone usage during school hours, we encourage genuine personal connections and positive interactions that strengthen the sense of community within the school. Third, enabling a mobile-free school environment lessens the negative effects of social media and cyberbullying. Constant access to apps and social networks have been linked to increased anxiety, social comparisons, and bullying behavior. A phone-free policy helps protect students from online harassment during the school day. It allows them to feel safer and more at ease in their learning environment, which in turn fosters better mental health. Finally, a distraction-free environment lays a strong foundation for academic success. When students are fully engaged in class, they're more likely to participate, ask questions, and seek help from teachers or classmates. These habits are essential to high quality learning outcomes. By removing an ever present digital distraction, we give our students the best possible chance to thrive academically. In short, a cell phone free school helps students focus in class, fosters healthy social development, shields them from a negative impacts of online behavior, and supports better academic performance. I ask that we strongly support and maintain any policy that limits or eliminates phone use on campus. Our children deserve an educational setting that promotes or prioritizes their well-being and sets them up for success free from constant pull of digital distraction. I will email that to you.
All right, there being no additional public comment, there's nobody here to comment. We'll go into I asked. I asked before we'll go into the discussion items. Do you want to start with the MAP scores or do you want to start with the personal devices? Principal Howell, it's your pleasure.
It doesn't matter.
Well, I didn't have the MAP scores and screened on there, so I have personal devices first.
Look at the
But-
personal
Yeah,
devices.
since we just read the comments.
Okay.
That makes sense.
All right, so we have one request from the community, which is a survey. I don't know how we would conduct a survey, but maybe we can ask them to push forward with the survey and deliver the results back to the Go team for the start of the next year, to inform.
How would a Go team,
Should we just ask?
how could a Go team push out a survey?
That would be, probably coordinating with the school to use the campus messenger to send out a link, posting it on their website. If you're looking to get the data, could be reviewing that screen. My suggestion might be that, when emails or, do you send out emails or physical letters?
I do both.
To maybe, because if you're not gonna look at the data now, to maybe wait until that initial contact with households at the beginning of the school year and put like a QR code. Don't forget that if the Go team wants to put out a survey, the Go team has to work together to approve the survey and questions. So, so that takes time also, because you have to. Is this your last meeting of the year?
It is.
Yes.
This is our 8th and last meeting.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We've met all the requirements.
So that's part of the challenge right now, in getting a survey out to parents is if you guys, you would have to have another meeting in order to approve the survey that would go out because you don't have the questions already. The other thing,
Please example ones, yes.
I mean, if the team wants to discuss the survey questions in the survey today and approve it, we could do that. If the team doesn't feel ready for that, then the other suggestion would be to be sure that it's on that organizational meeting, that very first meeting of the year, with, recommended surveys and to have it as an action, and then it could be presented at curriculum night or open house or things like that right at the beginning of the year to get that data right for the start.
The other option would be to allow them to push the survey out directly. They could partner maybe with PTA or your CTO.
Yeah, it's just,
to
if
do it.
the Go team,
The data-
the Go team needs to approve it as a body. If somebody else does it, then the Go team can take that data and to
Correct, we
discuss
could
the
still
same.
use the data.
You can still use the
And
data.
we don't have to
Like
hold up the
PTA.
process. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever the preference of the team is fine with me, but I don't know if anybody is willing to commit to another meeting, so there's that. And we're at the end of the school year, so we have to be very thoughtful about our educators and their requirements to the end
I
of
don't
the
know
year.
if PTA has another meeting on their agenda,
We
and I
do.
know they're shifting.
We do.
So should we take a vote if we would like to look at the survey now and move on it? In terms of discuss it
Has
here?
everybody had a look at the survey?
I can,
I've looked at the parent survey, I haven't looked at the staff.
I can add it to the.
So if everybody feels comfortable taking a vote on it, I have not looked at it
I
in
haven't
detail. So I'm not prepared to vote one way or another, but I'm one person. So,
You said this is something that we could look at right now, right?
yeah.
Correct.
So that's
we
what I
have it
was
as a-
proposing, is that the vote would be, do we want to look at it right now? As a
Oh.
go team. That's what she just said, is we could decide to look at it right now.
I think what she says, we decide to look at it in order to approve it as a go team so that it could be distributed as the go team distributing it.
You have a lot of options here.
Correct.
So-
I mean, we can
so-
look
so-
at it
so-
under this meeting topic, right? Like we
Right.
can discuss it under
And-
the meeting agenda.
And as part of the, please remember that as discussions can evolve into action items.
Yeah.
Right.
So if the go team wants to take ownership of it, I think that's the best phrase, then you could discuss it and take a vote that we're gonna take ownership and we approve everything and we're gonna send it out as the go team would like this information.
Well, we don't really need to vote on it being a discussion item because it was already a discussion item.
Right,
Yeah,
so
we
you
just
don't
need
need to
to
vote
have
on
the
being a discussion item.
discussion and then decide if we want to vote. It's a chair as well.
It's on my paper.
We can vote on whether or not we want to move forward with it. It was already a part of the discussion.
Right.
So.
Because we've kind of owned this item for quite some time.
Correct. So here are the
This is parent.
parent survey questions.
I'm both.
Say it out loud.
Both surveys are pretty identical,
Okay.
if not.
I believe
Yeah, yeah.
So I would suggest we define what personal electronic devices are. If it
We did
doesn't,
that right
oh, okay,
there.
perfect, okay.
Yep, they do.
It
Great.
does at the top, but the wording for me is personal electronic device, PD refers to any small portable electronic device designed for individual use. And then it gives us a list, but technically with school being in one-to-one with computers, that is still designed for individual use. And I understand that gives a list off that personal laptop is in there, but it is technically that child's personal laptop within the year. So how do we make it?
Doesn't the
Define
policy or the
that.
regulation just say like APS device versus independently owned or something like that?
So should we modify?
I think you can say AP, like excluding
Right,
APS
correct.
Yeah.
devices.
That's what I believe it says in the policy or the regulation.
So do we want to take notes?
Okay, yeah, well, I do. But I'm gonna do it right now. Thank you. We don't have a working form of this. Okay, so, okay,
Is everybody okay with this first question?
Yes.
I think I have a question on the questions. What is the purpose? Like, why do we need this survey data?
I think what it was when I read it is that they were looking for an understanding of what the feelings were both from staff and from parents. To try to get a feel for, I mean, we may or may not have policy from the government.
We already have
Next
policy
year.
from the government, is whether or not APS is going to implement it starting fall of 2025. The state is requiring for implementation to be fall 2026.
with policy and regulation potentially updated January of 2026.
Well, you have to give your plan for how you're gonna implement it by January. So that's a state law, already for K-8.
So, starting August 2026, it's not gonna be permissible for kids to have their personal electronic devices at K-8 in the schools.
You know, they can have them in the schools,
Once they're locked up.
right? From bell to
Yes.
bell, they can't use them,
Like you
That's
can't
not-
tell them not to bring it, they can't
Correct.
access it
bell to bell.
from bell to bell. So from 9:15 to 4:15, the students will not be able to access or use their personal electronic devices, K-8.
So if that is the state law, why do we need data about whether people believe that negatively impacts the classroom if they can't have it?
Because
guess
there
my
has been
question.
conflicting information on, I've heard conflicting information in this group on whether there are challenges or not, which Principal Hollis could, while we're waiting for that law and stuff for APS, I'm sure you tweak stuff all the time for next school year. So maybe this could help provide her some adjustments, which I'm sure she already has some adjustments for next year.
I guess what she's saying is this question specifically does not help yield those said adjustments. I think and correct me if I'm wrong, I think we all at the table agree that it has a negative impact.
Right.
So asking or gauging whether or not that is an issue is not what we're trying to get at. It is
How to address the policy around it.
Yeah,
We were trying to take the temperature though, because clearly if the one person sitting at the table, you're not gonna have any
I don't think-
communicating with. I think that the problem are parents who do actually want to contact their kids during the day. Like,
I've never had, I mean, honestly,
I think there are
because
some
we had
people who-
conversations as principals when the legislation went up to the state. We had like a call, and there were some elementary principals that were on a call that was trying to get a gauge of how did we implement it. But there were elementary principals that were just like confused with how do you start the conversation with parents. We're beyond that. I've never gotten any pushback from any parent about away for the day, ever. So I don't think any of our parents push back on that part, or even on the consequences if they are caught with it. No parents ever push back to us on it, but that's also because we kind of rolled it out. And as we rolled it out, like she said, we made adjustments. Like this year is definitely more concrete and less abstract. And so it's easier to point to that this is the thing that should be done. And it was more so with the elementary principals, you know, we're not the only school that does Away for Today. Sylvan Hills does it, Sutton Middle School does it, Midtown does it. Like everybody does it in their own way. Not everybody, but those schools that I mentioned, I know specifically do it. It was more so, how do we get parents on board to let go of the cord? And I talked about it in the principal's coffee earlier today. Just go to the old school way. If it's something that happened at the school, everybody's gonna be notified anyway. The district has a protocol for communicating to families. This is the thing that happened, and this is what we're doing. So that's not why you call. And let's just be honest, if it's something where we're on lockdown, you don't want anybody's phone getting on them anyway. So that's not what you want to happen. And if it's just like a regular occurrence of something that's going on,
Wait.
just call the front office. We'll get the message to the child. That's what we already do, right? So it's like shifting the mindset back to, you know, we did exist at schools prior to cell phones being in everybody's hands and being comfortable with that. And I don't really think that's an issue here.
So again, if the purpose is to get the community's perspective on whether phones are a distraction in the classroom, I think that we're skipping a step by not getting the data from the teachers who are actually in.
No, they have
They
a survey.
They have a
This is
survey.
give your own survey.
Second survey.
Okay.
And I think that's-
And we talked about that at the
The email
last
has the
meeting.
link for both,
Right, yes.
but this is just the link for.
But they are similar. But it does talk about teacher observation on the teacher
Staff.
survey, the staff survey.
Yes. So are you asking just to cross out question 1, or are you asking, I think the thought was at our last meeting that there would be a staff and a family.
Yes, so she said 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
She
we
said
probably should do 1
2,
for
and
kids
I
too.
mean,
Yeah, I would
we constantly gauge our teachers anyway. I do want to point out this is like the busiest time of the year besides
Oh,
the
yeah.
beginning of the year. I don't quite know how positive your data is gonna be right now if I sent this out, but that's what y'all want.
Question, is this something that now having a draft that we could send you our maybe input or Bailey, you would take ownership of and present the data in a principal copy and modify?
It's a big ass. So,
I don't mind, I do mind it being so long. Like,
So
I
that's-
think more than 5 questions is
Okay.
just, people are, that's not where we are right now.
How many was it?
So, because I know you survey, you sometimes take a pulse on things,
Mhm.
and if, I think there's less people, maybe, and less meetings, maybe it can streamline some things. Also, it can get you the data faster to inform any adjustments you want to make for next year. And you frequently have meetings, principal coffees, those probably happen most frequently between PTA and Go Team and principal. So that seems to me like the fastest streamline. I know that asks you to something to do, but if we could give you some input, maybe we could give this to PTA, ask them to give some input on the questions. We could narrow it down. I know
It's 15 questions.
I know
So
this
I'm
one's
okay
11,
with-
this one was 11.
The
version that I
teachers
had.
is 15. So I don't mind it.
5 questions.
We need to,
Five,
yeah,
yeah.
because
Okay.
we got literacy standards, we got a lot of things coming
Correct.
up that these 15 questions I would really rather than, I mean, we have some people that don't do the district surveys.
Correct.
So I just would prefer for it to be shorter, we can embed it in something else,
what
and
if
it's
we,
not a
what if we make
standalone.
it shorter and then we don't do it until the start of next school year?
So
Is
I
that too
wanna
late?
caution us, and the start of next school year starts on a Friday, so
Okay.
teachers are gonna have to come back, get their classrooms together and do everything in 4 days, and really 3 days, cause open house
Open
is
house.
on that Thursday. So really, they have 3 days to get everything ready to receive you all. I mean, I don't mind doing it, it might just not be right at the top of the school year. But if we say by September, principal coffee, like just a realistic timeline, I feel better with that. Either it's like now, which you know what's going on now, or after we start the school year, but not during pre-planning. I mean, we have teachers here,
I would like
so-
to follow up on the commitment that we made to the community that we would be willing to do this year. I would say that. I think we've pushed out
We have
that.
no more principal's copies.
I understand you might not be able to present the data, but it might inform you on where the community and staff sits and help you adjust the policy that then could start off the beginning of the year and you could communicate prior to the year. Maybe. Some things might already be adjusted because you already know what's going on. But I do know the community has expressed they want engagement on this topic for almost a year. We've had community members coming since last spring. And I think that is if we need to take a vote on that, I just want to put that on the table. We have pushed out that we are willing to do engagement on this and considering this. I would appreciate if it could be done in a small form, whatever form. I think the fastest way is if you pushed it out. If we could help you in any way and give you feedback on 5 questions offline, maybe ask the PTA members, we need to get this to her ASAP and give some input on the wording or whatnot. We would appreciate, I would
I
appreciate.
don't
if you
mind
consider.
sending it out.
And you get what you get.
I just think that from a teacher perspective, I'm just pushing back that we just got other things that are more pressing right now.
Correct.
And we're trying to increase morale as we go into testing. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't want to just keep dumping on them. From a parent perspective, we can push it out anytime and say, we'll close it August 1st. And then at that time, I can have the data, you know,
And
you have
it's
all
coming in
summer
the whole
long
time if you wanna
to,
look at it,
yeah, I
right.
don't really care about it. I care, but
Yeah.
that's not.
Whether you fill it
People
out
can take
now
their
or-
time getting that data back to me.
The same,
But-
maybe that's what you do for the staff, is you make it available now, who can do it now, if there's new stuff that comes in.
It's harder to, like, if we're saying we want a good representation, the staff is gonna change between now and August 1st. And being able to check off, yes, you did it, it will probably be better to pick.
I'm gonna leave that to
Yeah,
you.
and that's fine.
Personally, I would leave that to you on when you think is best with everything, so I have no idea what to do.
I have two questions. First off, are you streaming to YouTube? We've gotten an email asking, because nothing seems to be on the YouTube channel. Yeah, it says, okay, just.
Let me look on YouTube.
You get on?
I mean, it was on earlier, we
No, I
muted it.
that was the first thing. My second question is, with the state law, I'm trying to figure out what problem are you trying to solve with the survey?
When we talked about it last meeting,
Right.
it wasn't really that it was trying to solve, it was trying to give clarity to perception. It was more so perception data. Am I
Yes,
wrong?
You are
It's not.
correct. I think you are correct.
It's not. Is it recording?
Yeah, it's recording, but do we know what YouTube channel it's on?
It should be on the Howard YouTube channel. It says stop live streaming.
Maybe stop it and start it.
It's being shared to YouTube.
It's, look, go scroll.
Okay, so, okay, just.
Can she make that public and we can share that link?
No, I can,
That's
That's
us
us.
playing back. A delay on YouTube.
So, that, can you send that YouTube channel to Sean Gibson, please? And then what we'll do is,
Share it.
as the owner of the YouTube channel, Principal Hollis can download it, and then it can be uploaded to the Howard GoTo. But my colleague, or if you can send it to both me and Chandra, I'll update your webpage with the, for today.
That we can
Are we
stream
gonna
right
stop
now.
it?
That will be streaming from right now.
Yeah,
Thank you.
is your YouTube channel public? Your personal YouTube channel public?
Can we just stop and restart it and then share the YouTube videos on the website?
You all can continue the conversation. I will get
Should
the
we
YouTube
adjourn the
video.
meeting and restart the meeting? Move
No, I can update the website.
Yeah, we can just pause.
You can keep talking.
Well,
Yeah.
the only,
Is it
if
recording?
it's recording,
The problem is the Go team says that we need to be.
And I'm working on getting the link on the website.
Yeah. So we could, get down to 5 questions.
I think that's what the teachers, not to have to do such long survey.
And the parents is 11.
And if the parents, we want to keep 11, I think that's fine, but for the teachers, if we want to go and try to take out some of those questions that we already know the answers to, and get it down to 5, I think it would be worth doing. Yeah.
So did you all want to keep looking at that?
so I don't know how similar they are.
Yeah.
Almost identical.
That's
Okay. Because if we're gonna,
The first question for both surveys are exactly the same.
I say we X out and put teachers.
Same with the second question.
The second question is, you said exactly the same, yes, it's exactly the same, which is, I believe PED pose challenges to students' well-being, including mental health and safety. Teacher, X. The third question for staff is, I think the current Away for the Day policy and enforcement protocol at DT Howard adequately addresses any risks posed by PEDs.
I think that's
I think
that's what
that's
it
what
is. And that is the same exact question, third question for parents as well.
Again, are we worried about the risk or whether the policy is effective? Like kids are following it. That's where I'm struggling.
I think it affected, I think you're right. We all know it's.
We all know it's a risk. You can't eliminate any risk. I mean, I see what you're saying. The question is what we're doing, all things considered, is it effective?
Yeah.
And that's,
So that should be question number one.
So,
Right.
how would you like to change that wording? So I think the current Away for the Day policy and enforcement protocol at DT Howard is effective.
Yeah.
I-
And take out.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking for, suggested language. So is that good? Is it effective? Okay, perfect.
well, I
So
think
we're gonna
that's it.
strike.
I mean, you can't eliminate any
Got it.
risk. I mean, it's
Okay.
like,
So that is going to be question number 1. Is that correct for both surveys? As a suggestion for Principal Hollis to consider for her survey? Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Number 4 on both are exactly the same. I'm aware, is it now up?
I think teachers are aware, so I don't think we need that one on the teacher,
I don't think,
correct?
Some teachers might know that. I don't know. Do they know that? Yes.
I mean, we've talked about it, that smartwatches shouldn't, go ahead.
teachers know.
I think from teacher wise, we don't need that question on there.
Okay.
But for the next couple of questions about the average use of, well, we don't have a smartphone on there. But maybe when we get down to the use of smartwatches, I think that may be more what we see a lot of.
Okay, do we
or
want to,
potentially.
do we want to keep that one for the parents?
I would, because I don't think parents read all policies.
I would as well.
Okay, keep, got it. All right. The next one is different for parents versus teachers. For parents, it is right there.
I think that's a good thing to ask parents.
Suckers.
So you like that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I bet if you ask teachers are gonna say most time they say this something from their parents.
I have to do it.
For staff, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, the funny thing is, I do that, but my assumption is he's not gonna look at it. I mean, because I send it when I think of it. I can't say, oh, I gotta wait till 4:15 to send it this. So,
The
you know,
danger is
Here's the problem.
well, maybe I am the problem, but you know.
I mean, or there's an opportunity to talk to parents because
Yeah.
there's a new Apple feature that says
Delay.
or
Yeah.
send, schedule send. But that wasn't there prior to the new update, and so utilizing technology in a meaningful way.
If you are parents.
Well, I don't have room on my phone to do
That's
updates.
what they're going for.
Okay, so we're gonna keep that for parent, we're gonna suggest to keep that for parents.
Yeah.
For staff, there is a version of that which says, on average, how often do you observe students using smartphones during school hours? And then the next question is, how often do you see them using smartwatches?
Let's combine it.
Do we just wanna say, how often do you see them using PED devices?
Yes.
Any and all PED devices? Yes? Or would you like to know the differences, where the problems are?
From my perspective, especially with 6th graders, I would like to see like the difference. Because
Okay.
one of the sticklers is how much is a child actually on that smartwatch.
Because it's more pervasive. It's
I was
easier.
going to
to-
say it's grade dependent. I would say most 6th graders are not going to be on their phone. They
It's a
may be on their
smartwatch.
watch,
Yeah, I hear you.
right? And I think the survey asks which grade are you on the teachers. It asks what grade level. I think that will give
Very last
more information and then allow us to have targeted conversations
Okay.
about implementation of said policies with that specific grade level. 6th grade, I promise you, does not need a conversation of put your device in the locker, because they do it,
Okay.
you know?
I think
So-
they do this too all day.
So agreement about, so 2 separate questions, considering 2 separate questions for staff, one on smartphones, how often do you see them used, and one on smartwatches. All right, we're also keeping the question, it's the very last question, about which grade you may switch the order on that one, so we're just gonna jump down that. For parents, it is, I support a different The next question is, I support a different policy to further limit student access to PEDs during the school day.
I don't like that question. You can probably straighten that.
Yeah.
I think that's
I think that's a
Broad
parent, a parental control thing.
got it. The next question
Yeah.
for staff. On average, how often do you collect student devices for policy violations?
That's a good one.
I like-
What question are we on though? I think that could take the place of
The smart
the,
watch.
how often do you see it? Because
Fitting
if you
it
see it,
right.
you're supposed to
You
collect
could
it.
combine those two.
Yeah.
Okay, so combine with.
You want it
say
separated?
2, 3.
I think you're gonna get different data.
Also,
Do you?
should be
I
the same.
think if we're
You
gonna
see it?
combine them, that question should be combined with the smartphone question.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, but
Yeah.
not with the
But
watch.
not-
No,
Yeah.
I would
Okay,
say
combine.
how
We can still
often do you,
ask.
cause I don't
So we're
I
still
don't know,
asking
'cause
how
some
often
people
you
are
get surveyed
collecting watches
using
now.
smartwatch.
Yeah.
I started collecting.
yeah, but I think it's more often that if something's collected, it's the phones. And then because we've been doing it longer, people don't mind saying, hand me over the phone. And so that could kind of give you the data without adding an additional question, but the watches should be separate.
Okay. And then for the staff questionnaire, you have that same question we just striked from parents, which was, I support a different policy to further limit student access. Strike it. That doesn't mean we don't, it means we know that you're looking into that and there will be more looking. Okay. Same question on both. It appears, what are your primary concerns about revising the current away for the day? It's both on the staff and the parent survey. And I believe
I
it's
don't think that's
identical.
needed on staff, in my
I
opinion.
also think
And
the
it's very
wording of it is
vague.
revising.
Yeah,
It's just,
looking
it's
at
more
it,
like,
yeah.
what are your primary concerns about Away for the Day? And it's a good question for parents, because the truth is, I think that almost all of them are gonna think that it's that limited ability to coordinate
Emergency,
plans, limited
Yeah,
ability to reach my
that's
kids during
exactly right.
emergency. It's every one of those, so like that, I
But
think,
from a teacher,
from a teacher perspective, right,
Yeah.
I'm like, you're.
you can
parents
email
call
me,
the
you can call the
office,
front
like-
office, like, most teachers, like, there are other ways to communicate the information.
My biggest concern as a parent is one anyway. It's like, I mean, it's like, how much time the teacher's
So
gonna be.
we're gonna keep that on, suggest to keep it on the parents, rephrase it. What are your primary concerns about away for the day? Select up to 2, is what is suggested. You can prioritize or however you wanna set that up. Okay, teachers, we're taking that one off. The next one for both is, I support the use of yonder pouches at DT Howard, all student PEDs, similar to the policy at Midtown.
I would say take that one off.
Cause that might not be the answer, right?
I
So
don't
would-
know if Midtown's policy is being advised or revised for next year. And so, I think we should strike out that part, just because we can look at it, but
I suggest striking the question, period. Like if the goal is for us to inform a policy.
Right, we can't have the answer,
Yeah.
or like,
how do you, ladies, feel?
Strike it.
Ms. Bryant? Mr. Anglin?
I think that's a consensus.
This is the yonder pouch question? Okay.
Okay.
For the teachers, that's fine.
Oh, the next one is the Sutton Middle
Okay.
School question. It looks like they are identical for both parents and teachers. Support is very general.
I
I'm
don't
gonna
think
take
that,
this one.
I think that,
It's the same thing. If we
I
are
don't think
trying
that
to-
that matters, right?
Correct. I think it's
Because
a-
we actually
opinion.
told them to put it in the lockers before we started doing that kind of stuff. So it's like this laser focus on how people have utilized funds to solve the problem as opposed to utilizing what's actually in the building to solve the problem. That's the difference. We have lockers, they use the lockers, we tell them to put it in the lockers. So we're already doing that. I don't really know if that part matters.
I think it's similar to the yonder pouch, right? Like that's a proposed solution, but we're supposed to be getting data to inform the decision. So I
About
would
how
say,
effective the current policy is.
Is the policy
And the-
not the same for Sutton here? Is that what we're saying?
No, the APS has a policy.
Okay.
No one else can write a policy.
Correct.
APS has a policy. It
We
was
just
approved
have-
in 2019. I believe I sent it
Yes.
to all of you guys via email.
Yes.
Superintendent is the only one who can write regulation. I sent that all to you guys. We will add those in the meeting minutes. Those can be revised at any point. Erica Long is going to do a report out on the legislative session of the new law in June, like she always does her legislative report out. They always, within that process, look at policy and regulation to see if they align with the new laws that are coming down and those kind of things. Sutton has, what do you call what you guys can create at the school? A student, school handbook?
We have one too.
Right, I'm saying, what is that?
Yeah.
So I think it lives within the school handbook. Does our Way for the Day live in the student handbook?
Mhm.
Correct. But the word policy only lives at the board level.
Okay.
I just don't like the fact that we're comparing Howard to Sutton, and it's just
And-
not, it doesn't feel good.
Reading Sutton's policy, the only difference is the first consequence, which is the parent or guardian comes and gets it from the school versus in the front office versus the teacher giving it back when the day is done. That's the only
So-
reading difference.
The discipline infractions actually live currently within the regulation. That may be changed for next year.
But
because
it's also in the student code of conduct, like the actual book. It is. It's in the code of conduct.
I say strike it.
It is in the
That's
regulation.
Strike
Yes.
it.
I can give the page number, but it's
Okay.
in the code of conduct.
Yeah, I say strike that one.
It
Do you have
definitely
a
lives within the
consensus?
regulation. Yes, I agree.
So strike that one.
Next one. Maybe we can just give them links to the resources, whatever.
Yeah.
Or-
just give them the link to
Or,
Howard's.
you know, maybe the question is, do you want stricter enforcement? Do you want to be required to come get it at the first offense?
Right.
Versus us
Right.
getting it back at the end of the day at the first offense? That's really, like you said, the difference. So I think most are not gonna want that change and gonna kind of push back. So we can see what the data says.
And I would suggest adding the current board policy and the board regulation that actually has the discipline in it and maybe the page number to the handbook, current handbook. Handbooks are usually.
Okay.
Okay, I would be, it looks like it's the same for both. No, it's not the same for both. For parents, I would be willing to participate in a device committee to collaborate with other parents. I think we're in potentially a different place with the law coming down.
Let's strike that. Strike it.
Strike it.
I would be willing, for teachers, I would be willing to help enforce a stricter device policy. Confiscating devices.
Well, the other part, well, here's the other part. If it's a requirement, it's a requirement.
It is what it
It
is.
is what it
That's what
is.
it is.
Yeah, it's not.
Correct? Yes?
Yeah, oh, definitely.
I would be willing to participate, for staff, the device committee staff question, strike that one for staff,
yeah.
okay?
Great.
And then it's just the grade level one. So we are down to 4, 5 questions. If we combine that one, we're down to 4. Okay, is there anything that would like to be added, or should we, there is a open free text box, which could just say, add anything that you want for both of the surveys for the staff. If you want to include that, would people like that? If they want to say, people want to add anything that wasn't reflected? I would just think that's something. Yes, no?
I mean, I always think that for those who want to add,
I think it's great.
open comment is never a bad thing.
Correct. And that currently exists. So then that would be 5.
Yeah.
For parents,
Same.
same thing. And then they have, the very last one was grade. So we can provide, I can provide these suggestions to you, Principal Hollis. And then, so you are committing to roll out, this is a question, not a statement. Are you committing to rolling out a survey and presenting the data? Is that, am I understanding that? Were you considering rolling out the survey and presenting the data at a future principal's copy?
Yes, that's right.
Question?
All right.
Yeah, no, I'm looking around. Anybody have questions or can, oh, I'm not, no, I wasn't looking at her. I was looking at her.
Okay, all right, nope,
Great.
we're done with personal devices, and we'll move on to spring map.
All right, so we're gonna just talk about our spring results. It says fall to spring comparison for literacy and numeracy, but we did spring to spring comparison, so it has spring, fall, winter, and spring again. And then what you're supposed to be doing is kind of thinking about needs assessment based on what you see in the data, what kind of potential needs come to mind as we start planning for the 25-26. I shouldn't say start, continue planning for the 25-26 school year because we started planning in March. So you're looking at what does the data tell us, what good news is there to celebrate, growth opportunities and trends.
So on each of the slides before we go over the data, we just have the SIP goal as well, continuous improvement goal. So we're about to look at the literacy data. I just want to remind everybody what our goal was, to increase by 5% overall. We wanted to increase in those two subgroups by 5 and 6 respectively. Next slide, please, or can I have the mouse? Thanks. This is our spring reading data. It is by grade level. So you see 6th grade at the top, 7th grade in the middle, 8th grade at the bottom. You have your paper copies as well if you need to see it a little bit larger. Remember that 6th grade at the top is 7th graders, and the 7th graders at the top are the 8th graders. So it's not apples to apples from spring to spring, but that is the trend across the grade level. Yes.
Would you help me with the color coding?
Yes, so the green, you want to be on the right-hand side. So distinguish would be the dark green, proficient would be the light green, developing, level 2 is yellow, and beginning is red.
This is the RIT score equivalency.
Not the growth score.
Not the actual RIT score. So there's a equivalency, there's a data point where they have compared, if I make this RIT score, I should score this on the Georgia milestones. Okay. And that is what this chart is doing versus explicitly saying where the RIT scores fall.
Okay, all right.
So as you're looking at that data, the guiding questions are, what does the data tell us? What good news is there to celebrate? Where are there growth opportunities? And what trends do we see in the data?
Question for you. SIP goal says literacy, this says reading. Are they interchangeable?
The test is called a reading test.
Okay, so that's what you're using for your literacy. So we're hoping to see those gains in this data point.
Correct.
Okay. Do we have numbers? Do we know? So we're seeing an increase for the 7th graders from fall to spring. If I look at this correctly, we're seeing a few more in the light green, or at least, what is it? If you add the light green and the dark green.
That gives you proficient and above. Yes.
And that's good.
All green is good.
So we're seeing shift over or maintain.
From the way that we wrote our SIP goals, we're looking for proficient and above, and so that's all green.
Right.
The way that the state evaluates us, they do give you points for yellow.
Yellow. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we're shifting up or maintaining for the cohorts for 7th grade and 8th grade, fall to spring, is that correct? A little bit? For proficient or distinguished, proficient or above, is that correct? 6th grade, it shifted very small.
Like
we also have like difference in numbers a little bit, but pretty much we're staying steady consistently throughout the year. Is that what we're seeing?
Yes,
And
but
then the
understand that
red,
the RIT score that is needed changes as the year goes on. They expect you to score better.
Right, correct.
So I just wanted to say it's not the same RIT score that you need in fall versus spring to get into those categories.
Yeah. And then from grade level to grade level, there's a shift as well.
Which is what she pointed out. She said that was kind of saying something. But last year 6 to this year 6 in the year, that's a huge shift. 7 last year to this year is slightly lower.
So if we look at 7th grade spring, 23, 24, those are 8th graders fall through spring now, correct?
Correct.
So if you look at them shifting,
It's still shifting up a little.
well, that's good. Yeah. If you follow the cohort.
Correct. Now, the state doesn't care about following the code.
Right.
The state cares 53A. I just wanted to point that out. So people online looking at the data. They do not compare apples to apples.
That's what I'm about to say.
Right.
So in terms of our progress towards meeting our SIP goals, overall, as a school, we did make some progress, but did not hit the target of 70% to increase by 5% as the SIP goal states. We scored the same for our Black subgroups, and we did make some progress for our students with disabilities. So as if we're grading ourselves, we didn't quite hit the mark this year. Now, that doesn't mean that with our milestone scores that we won't, but just based on how we wrote our SIP goals this year, because we'll have map data sooner, we didn't quite make the mark.
But I do want to point out, we said 5%, and we did hit 3%. So.
It was 3% in the past. We changed it to 5%.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that is true.
And as you shift up, it is harder to make larger gains.
Yes.
Which
Yes.
is sometimes what people, as you
Yes.
shift up, it is much harder to make much larger gains. You need to make sure you're writing your goals so that.
All right. So next, we're going to look at our math data. Again, we want to increase by 5%, 5 and 6% for the subgroups as well. So this is our spring to spring for math. Same guidance as with the reading scores, where it's not apples to apples, but we do see spring to spring growth across and within a grade band, or within a grade level, rather.
It looks like 7th to 8th, they're like shifting more distinguished and above.
Yeah.
Over the
Just
last
really
4
good.
times they've taken math, is that right? Am I looking at that correctly? I know maybe potentially different kids, 348 to 333, but. And then 6 to 7th, a little bit different trend, different if you track the cohort from 6th grade through 7th grade, is that correct? But we have 20 additional students at times taking tests. So it's like we have 353 kids taking the test in the fall and only 338 taking in the spring, which is so you can't even track the kids in the same year from math to math to math. So just also.
We're inner city.
Right. So it is hard to look at this data even from time point to time point. How do you feel? How does your team feel?
I mean, you guys are doing awesome though, and the exceeding, yeah,
Thank you.
to have it that much larger than, the 49%, 48%, that's awesome.
And what I think is really nice is like when you look 6th grade to 7th grade to 8th grade, just that darker green area.
Right? There's more and more pushing.
So if for the 8th grade, it's all the same test, even you've got,
They have to take 2.
you have to,
So if
even
you're
with
in-
math?
No.
No,
They
okay.
take 1 test, but you take 2 milestones.
Milestone, so I knew that part. I was just talking about this measurement here.
We can triangulate it per class
Okay.
as well, but we didn't want to do that.
No.
It gets too particular.
Yeah, I was
So
just
being
curious.
that, like,
Saying
some
just give
6th
all the same
graders-
questions?
Yes,
No.
on the map.
No
they don't.
one has the same question. It's an adaptive.
It's right, it's an adaptive test, okay.
But some 6th graders have received 7th grade instruction, the accelerated children.
Yes.
So we would expect them to do better on the 6th grade only test, but it is adaptive.
Correct.
And
But
then,
the math is adapted, is not by grade level, it's grade band. So 6 and up is what they take when they click on it, even in high school. When they click on the test, it says 6+. So if any secondary student is taking the same test, so
Right.
you enter in at the same point and it adapts to you
right,
and tests your ability as how far you go up. And then when it gets to this, they're comparing it to where you should be based on your grade level.
only grade level. So not like if you're in accelerated math, you should,
Grade
right?
level.
So we should expect, because some 6th graders have 7th grade content that they're learning, we should expect them to do in the green if they have retained the content and performed on the test. Correct?
Yes, but not 67% of them.
No,
are
correct,
taking
correct,
the extra.
correct.
So
So-
the fact that you have 67% that's in the green, when only about 33% have that extra 7th grade
That was my
content.
second part of my question. So how many approximate kids in 6th grade are taking accelerated math right now?
It's normally about a third, so it can, when I'm saying a third,
So that's
it
great.
can be anywhere from 33 to 37% of the cohort.
So the green doesn't just represent the children who are in accelerated math, is what I'm saying, and I think that is a point to be celebrated, and that it's not only the children who are access to that content.
Correct.
Cool. So, this is our progress towards our goals as we wrote them. So how we wrote them, we did meet overall for math. We did make progress in our subgroups. We did grow that 3% for Black students and for SWD. So by state, right, we hit the goal. Just ours is more ambitious because we
want that
Chose
gold
the
star.
Chose.
So we want the green star. And I guess one thing that I am really, really proud of is the fact that there used to be a differential between reading and math within how we score on our tests. And if you're looking at this, math is trailing and catching up with literacy. So
here we come, ELA. All right.
It's the 8% overall.
All right, so this, while it is small, I'm sorry, is our map growth by subgroup. So at the bottom, you'll see the different
this
points.
is special ed.
Sorry. So you see fall is the first bar and then spring of not SWD. And then the orange is SWD. Math is on the left, reading is on the right. And again, that bar is where the district is. So as you see, we're highly outperforming the districts.
Do we have this for like state? I know they do a bar for district. Is there a bar for state too ever?
Not on math that I have seen,
Okay.
because not all school systems,
Is there a national, like we did for the data dig, like a national
it
marker?
could be a national marker, yes.
If that could be included in these presentations, that national line, I think that would be amazing from a school
Yeah.
level.
Now, we probably can give you the national percentage, but it wouldn't be a marker.
Oh, yeah, because this is built
Because
in
it's
APS.
built, yeah. And then it would also be lag.
Okay.
Because normally, I think they publish 3 years after the fact for national data.
I know Nick was saying like a year lag on something, but I don't remember what it was.
I feel like national norm math might be 3, but that could have been pre-pandemic versus post-pandemic, so
Yeah.
we can definitely find out.
Okay.
I didn't point out, but these 2 bars are from last school year, and
Yeah.
this is this school year, if you can see those very small. This is our subgroup. I misspoke earlier. So we have our subgroups across the top here. This is math, this is reading on this side. And then we also have last year data and this year data to read it in the colored groups.
It's fall, spring each year. So this is 2 years trend, fall, spring, fall, spring.
And it's also in the papers in front of you guys.
It's all too small. I'm sorry.
That's why
Take me
you
a
mentioned
second.
I wanted to help you out.
I'm about to get up and put my face on it.
And this is all predicting what they may score or how they're
This is
tracking.
proficient and above percentages. Equivalent. Yeah.
Yeah, this is super sweet, but this is actually a little better because it's closer for me.
So our subgroups.
How closely are these predicting your milestone scores last year? Pretty close, or?
We just got
It was close, but milestones was better.
Hmm.
But it was
That's good.
close. Yeah, this is at least the low bar. But there's a couple things that you could think of. One would be people might say, "Oh, they take it more seriously." Maybe, maybe not.
Mhm.
There's still also another month of instruction that happened from that test. And you use this data to kind of inform how you plan for the next month. So I think it's a combination of all of it. Not one more than the other, but the teachers can probably speak more to that.
Well, I know my kids' teachers have adapted based on how they do on that.
There's a 5% gain in math over fall to spring for the students who are Hispanic. That's one of the largest gains. Asian reading, it says 7 point. I don't know how many students.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm interested to see the milestones. Looks like we're getting ready.
All right, our last continuous improvement goal was around attendance, as you guys know, trying to decrease our chronic absenteeism for our subgroups Black and Hispanic. So this is how our CCRPI attendance checked in.
And remember, CCRPI is looking at from a chronic absenteeism that students are present 90% of the time for their enrollment dates. So as long as they have been with us at least 30 days, they count. Where milestones, like you were saying, the fluctuation in the numbers, if they did not meet FAA, then they're not going to count towards the school because they weren't in the school for long enough to say that we influenced them and their schools. But with attendance, either they're here or they're not, right? So that's the difference. And
How is this compared to last year?
that's on the next page, right? You went too fast? Yeah.
Okay.
So I know that we specifically called out English language learners, but there's no way to parse that out in that. So we went with Hispanic students because that's the closest we can get on the data, the way that the district compiles the data. So of course that would include some students that's not, but overall, with that subgroup for us to decrease it from 24 to 12, I think that we're firing on all cylinders how the way it goes. Yeah.
Did you, so in the data day, we saw that females more than males. Are you seeing some of those? We saw in the middle school and the high schoolers that females were more chronically absent than males. When we did the data dig, is that something that you're working on here as well, or you're considering?
We are not working on
I know that you
that
shared some
difference. Yeah, there are various reasons why that could occur. I do wonder that was for, when they gave that data, that was for us specifically or across the school?
Yes, it was for Howard specifically in Midtown. It was only the cluster.
So, that was interesting data to get because it's not in a dashboard that we, wait, yes, it is. Let me see.
I think it was really small.
Female students is 11%, male student is 13%. I don't really know if we can really call that out as being a statistical difference from a chronic absenteeism perspective. That's for this year. For last year, it was higher. So it did decrease. Females last year was 15%, males was 14%.
So 4%.
All right. So now we're supposed to talk about strengths and opportunities. I think we kind of discussed some strengths. Are there any opportunities that you would like the team to consider as we start planning for continuous improvement over the summer?
I mean, the Black subgroup continues to stand out and is struggling. But the absenteeism is up in that subgroup, so.
And we've had a lot of conversations with Nolan. I really pushed the staff in regards to that, to think about how we do things. How can we be more inclusive? We did notice a huge shift when we celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month for our Hispanic students. But African History Month does not occur until February. So doing that is, it's not going to give the same push as it does when you're talking about September, we're doing something. So it does allow us to think differently. What can we do? Whether it be like an international celebration, I don't know what that would look like, but to just think a little bit more outside the box as we start the school year, since we saw that big shift in our student populations. And they can tell you they don't get to just pack up their rooms on post planning day. They do some deep dive into how can we solve some problems, and so that's a continued concern for all.
So it still looks like our, as you said, Black African American students, Hispanic, ELL, students with disabilities.
Actually, if you look at the data, the students with disabilities are improving at a faster rate. Yeah.
What about the size of the cohort? Is it constant? Has it dropped?
I think our percentages, and we have a slide.
I mean, I'm just saying, if you're talking about different numbers.
Well, I think we kind of stabilized around like the percentage of students represented in the subgroups. I don't really see large shifts in that. The largest subgroup shift that we saw this year was Big Blue. That skyrocketed in the middle of the year. But if you can look at the percentages, I don't really see that they have changed dramatically.
I just didn't see the data from previous years.
No, it normally comes on the principal report, but you ask the questions.
Right. Okay.
Yes, I think that's kind of our community is kind of stable. But we definitely can look at the trend data this year.
Shonda, I don't know, would it be worth doing, again, I'm preschool and elementary, but in the fall, because African American History Month is until February, maybe like a welcome to Atlanta, or like, we live in MLK's neighborhood. Maybe invite Andre Dickens to come do something. Because like I know in Peachtree City, we call the mayor to come to reads at our school and like hangs out. I don't know if it's worth like having community members that are African American, that have influence to maybe do some sort of like this MLK's neighborhood. And I don't know if that we could do something with that at the beginning of the school year. Something about the community we're from. I don't know, just because it's not fair that we can't celebrate them until February. And if it really helped with the Hispanic Heritage Month that much,
Wow.
I think it might be worth celebrating.
Could it be something where we reach out to Howard alumni to
I was thinking that.
What I do now.
I mean, we do that
Yeah.
already and they come, but I think the difference is what she said was people who are influencers.
Right.
Well,
And so I don't know if they, I
I
don't know if they really look at it in that way when someone's more like, my grandparent came to the school.
And there is a Falcons player that did VHG's reading, like rented out Pips Theater, and all our kids got to go. Bijan something, I don't know. But it was like, if we can get, these kids are more influenced by those people.
But
And
the Howard alumni might be, it's networking, it's not necessarily the Howard alumni themselves, it's who
Oh,
the
no,
Howard
it's-
alumni
it is
may
the
know, right?
Howard alumni themselves.
But I guess what I'm saying is if you ask them, do you have, if you were to put it out there, you know, anybody, does anybody have a connection with, I don't know, like a football player?
Right, and being.
Right.
Not the.
With
your
original
grandchildren.
one.
That's you, right? Did your grandparents?
My grandparents.
Right, I was like, that is you. What are
That
you?
might be the great grandparents.
I don't know.
That's
Just like
I like the idea. I don't know that.
It would be effective, okay.
I don't know. I do think the idea could be effective. I don't know if we could use the alumni to leverage that. I think it might be.
Would it be
Yeah,
worth
we
reaching
have
out?
to.
I don't know how easy it is to reach out to Mayor of Atlanta, but I mean, I'm sure it would be good press for him, and yeah, that.
Well, yeah.
So, and he knows people.
And he did go to other schools.
He has. And I'm certain all the young students are like, yay, the mayor.
Well, he might bring a player with him.
He knows people.
Yay.
That's what- that's
Well,
what
I
it is.
mean, to that point,
Yeah, we
last year, like when the Atlanta Dream players came and the
Oh,
girls
yeah.
really enjoyed that. So, and we did
Hawk.
we did do the connection with the Hawks, so maybe reaching out to those partners that we've already kind of established some relationship with. So I think that's a great idea that, you know, we can try to figure out how to make it happen. And then we'll see if they find that is were they an influencer? Do they care? I mean, to your point,
Yeah.
Sebastian, that was in
Yeah.
Minecraft, that's at
Oh my
Midtown.
Oh, yeah.
They were really excited about him.
They
He
sure
was just in
were.
the movie, so we might can get him to come.
That's what I heard.
They were really excited about that, so we might not have to go too far outside the community to get it. Or even like, I talked to a parent last week who's a Morningside parent, and when they came to the family night in the fall, and like 8th grader cheerleaders were there, they were like, hey, there was like 4th grade, they were like, they know our names, so it might not be, we might get to the high school and we would accomplish a whole lot.
Okay.
We can try.
Yeah. I mean,
Thanks for that.
I just want to toss out there that it's 6:05.
Yeah, any other strengths? It's a
Yes,
great talk.
we have
Any other
10
strengths or
minutes.
opportunities? We are mindful that literacy will be top of mind next year, so you don't have to list that. Just throw that out there. We know we have standards changing, so we know that is the focus.
Give math a break.
And we'll have to incorporate a new curriculum, so we know that as well.
No, they
So that's a heavy lift.
Yes. Okay. Well, there's that.
Is there any, so.
You don't get to, I'm sorry.
Is there any technology training for him? Oh.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
sorry. But you can ask me after.
I apologize.
So sorry.
I will answer, you know, because you're new, we're excited to have you. No, we have not done any technology training this year for parents. We did Schoology last year, we did not do anything this year. I think this is a great opportunity to leverage the hub. That is a new district space, and they were doing parent trainings once a week. And we just need to get that information and I think advertise it more. Because with the new annual update, they were doing, hey, let me teach you about Parent Portal. And it was like every Thursday. And when I figured out that's what they were doing, it was like the last Thursday. So I think there's ways for us to leverage what the district is doing already and just advertise it better. All right. So you see, this is what's going on. Right now, we are awaiting to see how you all vote for the new Go Team members and preparing for ending school year, getting testing ready, and starting to plan for next year. I'm letting the teachers do the heavy lift on getting ready for, you know, testing while I start hiring and getting ready for next year. So that's kind of what's going on in school specifically.
Do we have lots of vacancies coming up? Are we good? How are we looking?
That's a loaded question.
Last year we maintained lots of our.
No, we have 95, 97% retention rate, something around in there.
That's amazing. Still a lot to do.
It looks like more because we did create some positions like the security guard, hourly teacher, tutor, like we created a new science teacher, like we created master teacher leader. So it's not, when you see all those dots, it's just like, oh, all these people are leaving. It's not that. So.
That's a great retention rate.
Thank you.
Me, Kat?
Yes.
So the CAT report out, I sent you guys all today and I'll include the meeting minutes. So, you know, during the budget process, the Midtown CAT called a special meeting to discuss budget concerns across our cluster. We decided to send a letter to the district, and that was sent. A copy of that letter has been sent to you guys, and I will put that in the meeting minutes. I won't spend the time reading it today, but that will go in the meeting minutes for anyone who's listening right now. If you want to check back on the meeting, I dropped in the meeting minutes next week. Second item is the engagement committee that is in the Midtown CAT. There's been 2 topics already done, test and assessment, as well as the data dig. Those can be found, both the presentations and the recordings of those meetings on the Midtown CAT website. There still will be a safety and security conversation. The date will roll out within the week. We're meeting with Applin tomorrow to finalize that. One of his staff was out for a little bit, so that pushed that off. And facilities master plan has been talked a lot about in the CAT. There is I sent you guys all, each Go team has been asked for a member, and there is a hierarchy in how those individuals were queued. I believe you're the member, you accepted that. There will be 3 engagement opportunities. There is also, which I don't remember what the deadline is offhand, I sent you guys all the community. You could put your own names into it and send that out. I also shared that on social media platforms. I think it was last Friday, but maybe it's this Friday. Those applications will be looked at, from my understanding, by the board, and they will pick from there some representatives to go on that task force.
I'm afraid I don't know.
Okay. I believe that is what Travis relayed in an email, is that, so there are individuals on that task force that are queued from each Go team, and then there will be individuals who expressed interest and selected, I believe, by the board. That is my understanding. They will have 3 engagements, 1 that's coming up and 2 that are later, those task force. So we will be looking for those people to report out to our communities and engage our communities. I believe that's it. Oh, and the test and assessment task force that I sit on as the Howard person, we have our last meeting tomorrow. And Principal Halls, I believe, sits on the staff side of that. That is all going to be communicated out and rolled out. They're still asking us for input and whatnot. What are we hearing from communities? I believe that's it. Is that correct?
And then the last information item is Go Team elections are now. We've got lots of candidates. I think it was a good slate of candidates, which is amazing. Yay. And the last day to vote is this Friday. So if you haven't voted and you're watching in the YouTube first, please vote. Please tell your friends. Please stay family. Well, you only get one vote per family, per household. Yeah.
And that's in your email. It's a unique voter ID in your email or text message, if you're wondering how to do it.
Okay, so we've already talked about the principals, the data for the school. Enrollment has kind of held steady. As you can see, our CCRPI attendance rate has increased from last year. We really wanted 90%, so keeping fingers crossed. Which is my plug to say school does not end until May 29th. There are 3 days after Memorial Day. Please bring your children to school at least half the day so it can count. I don't know if I should say it like that, but I'd rather them come half a day than not come at all, because those days still count towards our attendance.
3 days?
Yeah, it's 3 days.
So you get out on Thursday?
You get out on Thursday.
Okay, I thought, okay, good.
Yes. Get out on Thursday, and that will be for this year, next year, and the year after. That will occur. And y'all voted on that calendar during the pandemic, because the college did not vote for that calendar.
Or like the time they leave. In middle school.
Oh, she means.
It's like half day, so I'll say like 12.
Parents in elementary are very.
Yeah, oh no, here.
No, they are too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they are
yeah.
too. Discipline, of course, we had a little uptick.
Oh, look at the second graders.
Yeah.
Had a little uptick, but we're still trending better than we did last year in our categories, right? So I think we got to celebrate those wins. But we also need parents to kind of adhere to some school rules, because a lot of the upticks happen after a break. So after y'all had them for a week or 2 weeks and they come back and they forget, whatever happened on social media stays on social media, we are back in the school. So we have a little uptick around holidays afterwards. So just, be mindful of that.
And each one of those is an incident or a student? Is it incidents by students? I'm sorry, it says it right there. Sorry.
Okay. The Go Team asked for a STEAM update, so we pulled this and we did it in the principal's copy this morning, so you can hear Mr. Griffith, Dr. Griffith speak on it. But we've had some things that happened. Namely, we have conducted, the goal was to do 2 PBLs per grade level. Everybody, for the most part, participated in the fair, so that was the first one. And then they had a second one. So all grade levels have done at least 2, most have done more. We also partnered with Georgia Power over physical science. They came out and did labs. Emory had a robotic snake. They did that with 8th graders. We are currently, you see pictures of our new raised garden beds. So we're doing that in life science 7th grade currently. And Trees Atlanta will be coming in the upcoming weeks to work with 6th graders, and then they're doing composting because that's earth science. So we met that goal. And they all went, 6th and 7th grade went on field trips that dealt with STEAM. 8th grade went dealing with Georgia history, because we're in Georgia. And the school-wide we did the recycling challenge. School-wide, that was a partnership with Novellus and the Hawks, and that's when we got the aluminum bottle order. That was fun. It does taste different. And we did some other things that you see listed there, and we were awarded the Live Thrive or Live Thrive grant. So we wanted to make sure that we pointed out some changes to the dates. Of course, the Yellow State test, these 2 weeks in makeup. And this is just the calendar to make it to May 29th. May 29th, that was the whole goal.
Exam on their answer.
We had to, so, there have been some updates in the school. Facilities has updated the lights in the gym. It looks totally different now that we can see without flickering light. So that was one project that's done. Athletic boosters, they put up banners for all of our championships. It looks so good, doesn't it? And we got to add our new banner from the state superintendent around our math achievement for last year. So we got that. Mr. Langdon was there with me to receive that. And Ms. Bedlock for the 8th grade team and how well they did the state test. So we received that from the state superintendent last week, delayed from the snow. And then we finally got some traction on resodding and leveling the fields. We're still trying to negotiate a little bit more, but because they are at least going to do that, we can't be on the field, so we have to move field day. So that's the change. Field day was happening, so those 3 days can be fun because we hit to move the field days before Memorial Day. That meant something had to move too, because who wants to take a final exam and have field day at the same time? That doesn't sound like fun. So we switched that around. We will still have our big PBIS carnival on the 15th. 8th graders are going to Six Flags on the 16th. So we have a fun-filled, get tired teachers May. Rejoice for the summer. Yes, and I wanted to shout out one of our parents, Mr. Singh. He has been our lead math coach for the past 3 years. He is being promoted to high school this year. So we wanted to call out him because he has helped tremendously establish the Howard Math Club program, and they've done many competitions and made it to state. So we just wanted to say thank you for all of his work. Thank you. And then some other thank yous to the parents that have supported in various ways. Ms. Poole has really helped us out a lot this year with STEAM and with math. So appreciate her and all the parents, from volunteering at the tardy desk to passing out the treats for perfect attendance. Done a lot. And so these are some celebrations that we've had in the past. The things we want to point out that's coming up. Keep talking about attendance. 10 to win. It's like a new thing that's go from the elementary schools. So if your advisory has perfect attendance on that day for testing, then they'll get a treat the next day. If they have it all the days of testing, they're gonna pass to the ice cream truck. That is what that says. So we have that. And then this is something else that's from elementary. Growth popping. We looked at from fall to spring. If they met their math growth goals in reading, math, or both, they will get to pick some popcorn from Papa's Popcorn.
Yay.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes. And we have 771 students that will be getting those treats. So we got to go today. 771 students that made they either did both or met one or the other. So that is really good out of 1080.
That's amazing.
So, you know, because a lot of times I'm already proficient. As long as I stay proficient, nobody's gonna look at me. And so to then do that and grow, I am really excited. So we went with, you know, the expensive individual popcorn. And they'll get to be able to pick between butter, caramel, cheddar, and Chicago mix.
Do they know this already?
No.
If they're watching.
Well, that's what I mean, you know, I'm not
I
gonna
have
say
a seventh
that.
grader in here, and she's not paying us any attention, so
Oh,
no. So, yeah. We are excited about that. We had a meeting last week, and I literally pushed this on my team Thursday and Friday. I was like, we gotta get it. So we're going to try to get 6th and 7th grade. I think 6th and 7th grade Friday, and then 8th grade Tuesday. We're trying to get it before testing starts. So there's that. And then you've already talked about the voting window, the unique link, and all that good stuff. Vote, vote, vote. I'm very excited because this is the most candidates we've ever had to vote.
That's amazing. Yeah.
I think
It's
that was
really
really
awesome.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. It's because you're doing such good work.
Thanks. And even to that point, I think that because things are going so well there, foundations and PTO has been able to do the things they can do too. So it's keeping the momentum going. And then I think that's it. We have had a great year. It's been a pleasure serving with you all this year. And this is our final one. I'm so excited about being the final one.
We got PTO next week, huh? Like, don't get too excited.
I do want to just suggest that anyone listening, or you bring a friend, Fine Arts is having their performance on Thursday, and it's combined. And our first one that we ever did was in the fall, and it was really good. It was nice to see the gym packed for it to celebrate the students.
Except this one.
Yeah.
It is
so
6
this
o'clock
Thursday.
on
Oh my God.
Thursday.
And it's only supposed to be about an hour and a half.
It's
so
an hour and a
not gonna be
half.
Super long.
Yes, an hour and a half, 6 to 7:30. And then we have fun on the fields for our 5th grade families on Friday. So we have all the fun stuff and then testing.
All right. Are there any other announcements? I know we have 2 folks here. I don't know if you just want to say your name or you guys.
Are you talking?
No.
We have public comment at the end.
Oh, yeah.
If they wanted to sign up for a 2-minute public comment, would you like to sign up for a 2-minute public comment?
Yes.
That would be
Go
your
for it.
opportunity. Would you like to sign up for a 2-minute public comment?
Sure.
Perfect.
Go for it.
My name is Kedar Little. I have a 6th grader here, and have 2 other children that will be here. One is at Morningside now, and then upcoming pre-K. And just being introduced to what is happening in middle school, I think it's important for my family and I to just see how we can involve ourselves, how we can, help and, foster any type of learning, enrichment, and give any of our experience and or resources to develop the school in our community. And I'm running for Go Team.
You have some things that you might be able to do.
Okay.
Hey, thank you very much. My name is Jason Langby. I'm an 8th grade math teacher here at Howard Middle School. I am running for Go Team on the instructional side. Looking forward to, I just want to be an ambassador, be more involved in the community, and make sure that our kids are seen, our parents are heard, and our teachers are supported. If we're doing all of those things together, we can do great things, and we are continuing to do great things. I just want to be a part of it and continue our successes. Thank you.
Thank you both for coming.
I'm Rakita Moore, and I'm also running for Go Team. Because I'm not clear if I had 2 years or 1 year, so I just threw my name in the hat. I'm master teacher leader of all things instruction here. I have a 6th grader here, and I have twin 3rd graders who will be here in a couple of years. So I just want to make sure that I'm able to keep the school running in the direction that my kids of color can be benefit as well. Sorry. We've done a lot of great work this year, and I'm just looking forward to jump back in next year and making sure that we just keep going up and up and up. We have a great school culture already, and I just want to make sure that we continue that.
Do you wanna?
I do not. I'm Shalonda. I'm happy if y'all do. I'm happy if you don't. All right, I'll take the motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor?